just like skip all of the primes. I don't know. It's weird. And
Where's D Rose in this, man? Damn.
Wiggins is just awful.
D
Wiggins
Rose needs to be on here.
they
What's really
flopped on the
pissing me
Wiggins, bro.
off?
Yeah,
Derrick Rose, man. Derrick Martell Rose is not on this list. That is crazy.
that's whack. What? What are you guys
Derrick
saying, man?
Martell Rose is not on this list, bro.
What did you say? Did you say Darren?
Crazy.
Did you say Darren?
I said Derrick Martell Rose is not
Yeah.
on this list.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Why you
Yeah,
guys laughing?
I have a problem with that.
Okay.
That's all I said.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Say Less Basketball Podcast. You're currently listening to this week's episode. This is week of October 24th, Sunday. We got obviously the season has started. Yes, sir. And we got some things to talk about. And the top 75 list was also mentioned. So we're just going to get casual here and talk about some shit. This is episode 37. Appreciate everyone looking at the episode last week. We talked. It was kind of funny. We talked about the the basketball drafts and the fantasy drafts, and that was
God.
But we got some decent views on that. You know, which is
Did we really?
We got 27 views, and usually we don't get we don't get in the 20s for some of these. So
It's turning out like it looks like my predictions, my preseason rankings were very wrong.
You know, we'll take what we can get here with these 20 views. Yeah, your preseason rankings are all over the place, but then again, so is everyone's team. Even my team. My team is.
It's all going to come down to injuries. Yeah. Whoever has players get hurt, like me. I said this last week. Everybody, here's an update on my team. 7 players got injured this week in week 1, including my number 1 pick. Yeah. Yep. 7 players out, and now I'm going to lose to one of the worst teams in the league. I lose everybody on my team. Yes. Just like last year and the year before and the year before that. Let's go.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah, but that's going to be interesting. You know, we'll keep you guys updated if anyone has any fantasy basketball sleepers or whatever they want to talk about. We can always bring that up throughout the season. You know. At any time, you know, on the podcast. So that could be cool. But the Ben Simmons, obviously, man, the Ben Simmons stuff is it's so funny because we talked about it it's been like the first thing we talked about like the last 3 episodes because it just keeps progressing.
Feels like a month, yeah.
It feels like it's been the whole off season and now, which I'm surprised that it's progressed to now, that the situation is still, you know, so awkward and still no solution has been made and the season has just started. Like I would feel like the Sixers want to focus on, you know, playing basketball and not Ben Simmons, but that feels like the case. Like that's not an ideal case that Ben Simmons is like there's drama already in it's game 1 of the NBA season. So with the Simmons stuff, oh man, I think Embiid, yeah, we were talking about this. So the Embiid has always been back and forth on this. You know, Will has compared this to the relationships, to an actual relationship. Sorry, I'm still sick, so I got a little bit of a cough. But
I was up all night.
Yeah, but you know, Embiid said, you know, in the start before the opener, I think before the home opener, like he's still our brother, but then before they like started the.
Literally like a day prior.
Yeah,
or like 2 days prior.
Yeah. He said, you know, I don't care about that man. We have to focus on us. I'm focused on playing the basketball and starting the season. He's like, I don't care what that man does, which is, you know, basically saying, you know, they don't care. And then there was obviously all the stuff with him getting thrown out of practice, and now he says he's not mentally ready to start the season. So, golly.
Here's the quote. This is just that line. I urge you guys to continue to support us and our teammate Ben because he's still our brother.
Bruh.
I don't know what to make of this man because Ben, to me, I said this on the podcast multiple times. I think you guys were saying like Joel has kind of like consistently been like, I don't want to deal with this, but I feel like this kind of stuff just gives off mixed signals. It's it's really confusing. And considering that Ben Simmons feels like a 16-year-old teenage, a teenage girl in terms of his emotions, this is probably really messing with his head.
Yeah, it's really messing with the team, man. Like they're supposed to be starting the season, and this is obviously the main focus in Philadelphia when it should be, starting off hot and trying to get wins, but it's just a bad situation for every side, and they have to trade him.
He's just a teenager in general.
Bro,
This is just a teenage relationship.
Bro, they got to see if they can get that Brogdon trade, that Pacers Brogdon trade. Man, I said
that. I was watching that episode a few days ago.
Yeah.
When I said, and you two both were like, no, Brogdon's not good enough. He's not an all-star. Well, now look at that. Now it looks like it would have been a great trade.
Yep.
Because they just his stock is so low. Like, what can you get for him at this point? Like a cookie, some cookies out for Santa or something. Like, what are you gonna get? This man, I don't know what to get.
Yeah, that's a great trade. I think that trade is still in the rumors, and the Knicks is, by the way, because I've seen like reports that they're still inquiring. The Sixers are still inquiring
because Ben Simmons is a great defender. Brogdon is a pretty good defender too.
Yeah,
you're gonna get elite shooting with Brogdon. He's 50, 40, 90, or close to it every year. He's done it before, right?
He's done it before. Yeah.
So you're getting elite shooting. That's. I mean, you don't necessarily need that on Sixers. They've got some decent shooting, but it can't hurt. And then the defense, you don't lose the defense. He's not 6'10", so he won't be able to defend everybody like Ben Simmons can. But the most important thing is you get him out of the locker room. You need Simmons. He's just a distraction.
And Brogdon is a good fit, right? Because he can also score and he can distribute if he needs to. He can do a lot of things.
Look how he's playing so far this year.
Yeah.
Like 2 games or 3 games or something. He's looked really good.
Yeah, he's looked really good. Yeah.
What did I say? I think when Simmons got suspended, we had an argument. Oh my God, I have some trash that is falling out of my desk.
Oh, really?
I feel like Zach right now.
No.
How's your chair, bro? How's your chair with your propped up laptop?
My chair is fine. I'm cooling, man. I'm fine.
Bro, so when Simmons said, or when he got suspended for the first game, I told you guys in the chat, I was like, to me, this says maybe he would have played. Because I was like, why would you suspend him if he wasn't even going to play?
For one game, right?
And then Joel came out and said, so I was like, oh, well, maybe this can be mended again. I was like, oh, maybe this can be mended, even though I've been going back and forth. And then Joel immediately, like the next day, is like, I really don't care about this man. And I was like, okay, well, never mind. And then he comes out and he says, I urge you guys to continue to support us and our brother Ben our teammate Ben because he's still our brother. And I'm like, what?
And Simmons says he's not ready mentally or physically.
They all meet.
Yep.
The team meets with Ben Simmons and they all agree this is all our faults. To be fair, that's true. Usually, boys and girls, in your breakup situations, usually it is both your faults.
Yeah.
That's usually how it is, just like this.
Yep.
So they come to that, and then he's like, oh, I'm just not mentally ready to play. So again, now I'm wondering, well, is he going to try and play at some point? What's going to happen? So
you don't know.
Mohammed, I want to ask, like, do you think, where are you at this point? Because I feel like I'm in just not emotional. I'm just like confused at this point.
I think it's just one of those forgive and forget type things. So, I mean, they had the team meeting, and I think that was a good idea for everybody to just let out the feelings. So, at this point, if Ben Simmons is ready to play, he's ready to play. If he's not, then it's up to Daryl Morey.
I will say, remember at the beginning of this, many episodes, I've said you can't undo this. This is damage beyond repair, right? I've said that many times.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't anymore because they all met. If you all meet like that, that to me is showing maturity. That's moving forward, like trying to take the steps in the right direction. I gotta be honest, I did not think that would ever happen. I really didn't. Ben
Yeah.
Simmons had literally moved out of the state.
Yeah.
He'd done everything but that. So I did not see that coming. Then they do it. Now I think I would go back to what you just said, forgive and forget. At this point, just move on, honestly.
Yeah, that's all you
If
can
you're
do.
still adamant about getting traded
They
as Skip or Shannon, it's Skip. I think Skip has said the best way for you to get traded is to play. That's the best way.
Yep.
Because right now nobody wants you.
There was reports that saying the earliest he's gonna get traded is like early December. So
Is he's not getting paid, right? Or is he?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I saw something that he was
getting fined or whatever. I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Hasn't he lost? I know he's lost money from team getting fined and then suspended and all that, and missing games, missing all the preseason as well. Yeah, I think they fined him for missing the preseason and training camp.
I wish we could have been there for that team meeting. That would have been
hilarious.
A gold mine.
Yeah,
that would have been. Oh, we're sorry for saying that we don't believe we can win with you. Also, Joel, I'm sorry, or Ben, I'm sorry, for saying I don't care about you, and then the literal next day saying that I do, and we love you like our brother, and then Ben will be like, yeah, I'm sorry for handling this like a child, running away, moving out, ghosting all of you.
I think this is this is a bad move on the Sixers too. Like, he should have been gone months ago. He should have been traded away before the season had even started, like way before any of this, way before now. And they didn't.
Well, yeah, because his draft or his trade value is just
they valued him high, and his value was way lower than they thought.
So
he should have been way gone like months ago, and he's still.
I want to ask you.
He's still there.
I want to ask you guys. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. I feel like there's a delay in speaking over like when you hear in headphones. So I think it was Stephen A was saying this all started when they tried to trade him for Bradley Beal. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's justified because he hasn't, shooting is holding him back, and it's holding the team back, and it cost him a lot, especially last playoffs. So I don't think he should be mad. He should be mad at himself, if anything. But
I do.
Yeah.
Think he should be mad. I would be mad at both. I would be more mad at myself because I let my team down. Ultimately, I'm too much of a team player to like just be okay with it. But still, both parties have handled this pretty poorly, in my opinion.
It's costing. His shooting's costing.
And you know what's crazy? It is.
It's his fifth year. He has to improve his game at some point.
Yeah, I agree with Mohammed. Yeah.
Who was it? The Kelsey. What's his name? Kelsey.
That was Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey. Yeah. Did you see what he said?
Yeah, I seen it.
I didn't see it.
He basically just said, he's like, just improve, show that you're making steps to get better, and this city will love you.
And he hasn't.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I mean,
it's every year.
Nobody. I actually even think that if he started shooting jump shots, they'd love him. Like,
right.
And being like Giannis and airballing. Who cares? Giannis doesn't care.
Giannis is his number one example. I mean, look at his improvement.
Yeah.
You're not going to get better by not doing it.
Yep.
Like, everybody knows the saying, practice makes perfect, right? That feels like a foundational thing you grow up learning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think they should have traded him a while ago, like you said. This might have gotten to the point where it just might be too late, where you have to repair it, which they could. And what I was going to say is, did you see the Sixers against the Nets? They look pretty good. I like to think if they had Ben Simmons that night, they win that game, because I personally thought the refs were questionable in the end of the game. The Nets got a couple calls that really benefited them. Can't blame the refs, but if Ben Simmons is there, I don't even think it matters that you get those calls. The Nets do. So the Sixers are still really good.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know, because they're winning they're winning that game most of the time because of the shooting, because they're just hitting a bunch of threes. So if Ben Simmons was there, I don't know, it'd probably be a different way, because I don't think his shooting would have, obviously made a difference.
His defense could have helped a lot, although Matisse Thybulle really.
It was really just KD, and then James Harden.
Yeah, Harden was terrible. He did hit like one really big three.
I mean, he did heat up a little bit in the second half, but he was just kind of lazy to me. So
don't say James Harden being lazy.
Dead.
That's what happens when you go to the clubs before the season starts, bro.
Oh man. But the Ben Simmons thing is always interesting.
We're probably gonna talk about it every week for the whole season.
Every week for the whole season, it feels like, yeah. The Brogdon trade. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think that's the Brogdon trade was like Simmons and like Furkan Korkmaz for like Brogdon and like LeVert or something, and or like Brogdon, LeVert, and TJ Warren. I think it was like those mix of those players anyway.
That's a good trade to me.
That's a great
trade. A really good trade.
That's a great trade. Yeah. They should.
If you're getting that still even with Ben Simmons' trade value the way it is,
I don't know why they haven't taken that yet. Yeah, if they're still getting it. But that's it for the Ben Simmons stuff. We're going to talk about that every week, so we'll have time to talk about it in the future. But the start to the season was really what is happening this week. There's been a lot of developments. It's been a lot of hot starts. It's been really exciting. I think first off, we should talk about the Bulls because the Bulls are the only team in the NBA 3-0, and are
and they're Mohamed Nice's favorite team,
and mine as well, right, gentlemen? Yes, right, yes.
No support from the crowd.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Nice. This guy like throwing tomatoes at me, basically. It's like the episode of SpongeBob with when they put up the hands. Yeah. But what do you guys think of the Bulls' hot start? They beat the Pistons twice. There was that blowout win against the Pelicans too. So what do you guys think so far? What's the points of emphasis? I know we've been posting some reaction videos Mohammed has on the TikTok, so go view those. It's really some Mohammed's insight is very developed, very insightful.
I've also been
very insightful. Will has always been. I got to get on that. But look at that. It's really insightful. They're really good. They're not just talking about dumb shit or you guys. I think you guys actually get into depth with it. So, wow, thanks for interrupting me. I was trying to give you a compliment, but go ahead. No, it's fine.
No, I was talking to myself. Keep going. Oh, okay. Sorry.
But I was gonna. Yeah. So both of you guys have been doing a good job with that. So proud of you guys. But what do you guys think so far? I know defense has been one talking point. I don't know if Mohammed or Will wants to go first. But what is? I
want to hear Goku or whoever's on your shirt. I can't see.
Kakarot.
Okay.
That is Goku. Yeah.
So I guess based off all three games, defense has kind of been the big one for me. It's just hustle and just the steals, the blocks, the little block party they had yesterday. Caruso, obviously a great defender. Who else? Troy Brown Jr., Javonte Green, Lonzo. We already know they have defensive mentality, but DeRozan and LaVine have been the kind of surprise because I guess not technique-wise they're good, but just their hustle and their effort's been fantastic. I mean, LaVine's been double-teaming good. He's been getting a couple steals. DeRozan's been playing good on-ball defense, off-ball. So just the defense has been great. And the offense already knew DeRozan's mid-range god. LaVine's, I think it was a second game. He didn't have any points in the first quarter. Came in second quarter, scored 20 points in 6 minutes. It was just, just like that. Vooch, double god. Every game he's had double. So yeah, just I'm happy it's a good start. Play the Raptors tomorrow. Time this recording. But Raptors, Knicks, Jazz, and I think the Nets after. So, some real tests coming up.
Knicks will be a good game. That first Pistons game was like, I think we were talking about it, or somebody was. I don't know if I was talking about it with you, but it was like a classic Bulls Pistons, like 80s, 90s game. It was like low scoring, pretty atrocious offense, but
yeah, chemistry.
Well, it was the Bulls' first game too. Sadiq Bey. I like Sadiq Bey. I really want him on my fantasy team, but I made the mistake of saying his name out loud, and I think Eve picked him up, or Hayden, naturally. I think the Bulls are going to be good. I know Zach was telling me it's only 1 game or 2 games or something in the chat. Relax, bro. Here's the biggest difference I've seen with the Bulls is the environment and the UC. Like, I haven't seen it that crazy in a while. Like when, Lonzo did that alley-oop to get his triple dub again to Caruso. Like, I get it. Like you go crazy for an alley-oop, but like this was just the energy felt so different. I'm not there, so I don't totally know.
Yeah, but it definitely,
it feels like everybody fan-wise and on the team believes they're going to be a really good team. And I feel like that's part of the reason, like, Zach LaVine and DeMar, who are not really known as defensive players, are starting to kind of play that way. It's kind of like back when they had Thibodeau, and that team was just so elite defensively. I wouldn't call Derrick Rose a good defender. I wouldn't call, like, Kirk. Well, I guess Kirk kind of their team was really good defensively, but like Carlos Boozer, even not a great defender. But these are guys that like elevated. I feel like the same thing's happening with the Bulls. I really am looking forward to this season. I think they're unlike our fourth member who couldn't make it today because he says his car battery's dead and his air in his tire is dead and he's cleaning. And really what happened is he just didn't get out of bed. I don't believe they're going to lose 25 more games than last year and become the worst team in the history of the league. I think they might win 25. No, they're not going to win 25 more games. They might win like 15 more games. 31 to 46 feels doable.
Yeah.
It's funny Jack isn't here after shitting all over the Bulls in that last episode.
It's interesting.
Kind of makes you wonder, a little bit about some things.
DeMar is just. I know you said mid-range guy, but I just watch him. I'm like, every single time he shoots a mid-range shot, I just expect it to go in. Every time.
Right. Yeah.
It's literally like how I felt when the Miami Heat were playing the Spurs in the finals and like Shane Battier or Ray Allen or Mike Miller got a wide open 3. I was like, this is good as gold right now. And that's what I feel like.
Mike Miller.
Every 3 shot, I just expected to go in.
That's what I feel like, bro.
The Mike Miller shoeless 3, that was iconic. Yep.
What else? So I was concerned about their defense after the first game, especially Vooch. Vooch got destroyed in the paint in game 1 by like Jeremy Grant, who is not really size-wise, shouldn't be able to do that. But their defense looked really good the last 2 games. Again, I feel like they're kind of masking how terrible Vooch is at defense because Grant, Patrick Williams, they can kind of make up for that. I think they need to play Grant more because of that.
You mean you said Grant?
Oh shoot, not Grant. Why am I saying Grant?
Not Jeremy Grant, no.
Not Jeremy Grant. Javonte Green. Might be. Because he's a good defender, and he's like who he reminds me of from the prior Bulls teams? He kind of reminds me of like a Joakim Noah in a way.
His energy.
I was just gonna say energy and hustle. Like he's not like gonna score 50. He's not gonna get 20. He might get 20 rebounds, but he's just out there to just hustle, play his role and go as hard as he can.
And
That's what I love to see.
Athletic as hell too.
Some of those blocks. Oh my God.
Dunks. Oh my God. He's just flying through the air.
I haven't been this excited for a Bulls team in a while. So this is something to look forward to. Now, their offense, they did annihilate the Pelicans. But the Pelicans are the Pelicans and Zion. I want to see a little bit. I think it'll take like 20 games for their offense to really get going, but I would like to see a little more. Just because, like yesterday, 97 points, that ain't gonna work against the Bucks or the Nets. Yeah. That ain't gonna happen. So, if we want to really compete with the elite teams, which I don't know if they're there yet, but if you really want to, you're gonna have to score a little more.
Yeah, they scored.
I think they slowed down because they're up like almost 30.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. They just quit.
And they let him come back and shave it down to like 12 points. I was like, okay.
I gotta be honest with you. I like the Bulls' chances against virtually everyone in the league if they're playing like a 7-man rotation, because their first 7 is not the best in the league, but it's really good. I think like.
I don't even think Billy knows the rotation yet, because he was rotating a lot of guys in the first 3 games. I mean, Ayo got like, I think 15 minutes, in 2 of those games, and what else? Troy Brown Jr. was getting minutes. I do want to see Derek Jones Jr. and Tony Bradley get some minutes. I want to see how they play too.
Is Kobe White hurt?
Yes.
Yeah, he's right now.
Okay.
That's gonna be interesting to see how the bench lineup develops once he's back.
Yeah, I got.
But go ahead. Let
me just say, this is another great sign: is 5, 6, 7 players in double figures every game. That's a recipe for winning.
Yep.
Go on, Zach. Sorry.
I was gonna say, Caruso's been really solid off the bench. He's always had like that minimal bench role on the Lakers, but he's playing like high minutes these last couple of games, and 20 plus, 25 plus, even some games. And just having him on the floor makes the possibilities more electric. I think, he's capable of doing like those dunks and everything that we've seen, like in the Pelicans game and everything. That was hype. That's probably the most hype Bulls moment, in the last like 5 or 10 years, it feels like. But that's really hype. And then seeing just all around play from all the new guys too, like Lonzo and DeMar, that's really nice. The Lonzo triple double was really cool. And he had like a lot of like 4 blocks and 3 steals, like last game, I think.
He's a pest. Lonzo is such a pest.
That's such a pest. That's awesome. I think he got the steal on that Caruso. He started the steal. He got the steal and then started like the Caruso, like
the break,
the break. Yeah. So that's big. I think fast break opportunities are very like underrated, and they're not as looked at, I think, in the league. And if the Bulls can get steals like that and have Caruso or Levine running down the floor, going into the paint, and Lonzo or somebody or Kobe White, maybe when Kobe White comes back and he's throwing alley-oops to them, like those are easy points every single time, because those are guys who can score and dunk. And I'm really excited about that, because that makes the team way more exciting and more dynamic when they can score on the fast break, instead of, having, Lauri Markkanen as their second best player. But I like that. It's exciting time to be a Bulls fan.
I just want to say real quick, the Bulls have not lost this year.
Yeah, if you want to call me,
they have not lost.
If you want to call me a Bulls fan
and regular season, don't cut me off anymore, because I'm talking about how the Bulls are undefeated. Thank you.
Yeah, but they look hot. I think Ayo's only played like a couple of 10 minutes, but he's gotten a few blocks every now and then too. I think he had that big block in the last game or something. I can't remember, but
I don't know if y'all were watching most of the games, but Lees Johnson off the bench. The Stacey Kings like dubbed him like Baby Rodman, I think he says.
Oh,
yes, he does.
And he's low-key got a point, because he's built like him. He kind of plays like him. He's just a big hustle guy off the bench, like we talked about. another good defensive piece, and just brings energy with Javante. So excited to see what he does too.
They've got a really good defensive team. You know what? Here's another
They're
thing. They're not
undersized,
even
though.
playing.
That's the one thing I'm kind of scared about because, like, outside of Vooch, like, it's just a bunch of 6'8", 6'9" under type guys, and they have long guys like Derrick Jones and Tony Bradley, but they haven't played, and they only played in the block.
That's what I was gonna say. Is they need? I think this team. It's gonna be weird. You're right, because rotations are gonna be key for this, and we don't want Billy being like Steve Nash.
Yeah.
But I do almost think this team could have like a 10-man rotation. Like, I think they're that deep.
I mean, it depends on the team they play.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is I was gonna say is he could follow in Nick Nurse's footsteps, where Nick Nurse, like Chris Boucher.
Oh my gosh!
Depending on what team they're playing, he will change his starting lineup. He does not care, and he will change the rotations completely, which is good coaching. And Nick Nurse is a great coach, so I think it could be, like you said, Mohammed, very team dependent, and they should, because the length will catch up to them. Look at the Nets already. The Nets have just gotten annihilated on the boards, absolutely annihilated. And what is the one stat? I always say the basic stat that leads to winning is rebounds. If you have more rebounds than the other team, you're almost always going to win. Almost always. You got to be able to rebound.
Yeah.
So you're right. It does worry me a little, because effort and like just athleticism can only go so far. At some point, if you're playing like a Jokic or a Giannis, like they're just gonna eat you alive. Yeah. I mean, look what Giannis did to the Nets.
Right.
Yeah.
And no answer. None.
Yeah. Every time. Lopez, Giannis, Connaughton, just a bunch of long guys all in one lineup that's a lot.
Yeah.
And the Sixers too. Sixers are pretty long too, even without Simmons. Got a lot of long guys.
Dude, Matisse Thybulle, that man can defend. Man can defend.
I
watched him give it to Durant one possession.
Mm-hmm.
Durant, whined and cried. Oh, it was a foul. He fouled me on the shot. I was like, what? No, not really. That was just good defense. Well, granted, the next play down, he just destroyed Thybulle, but like that dude can defend. The Sixers are a really good defensive team too.
Since you brought up, complaining about fouls, I was gonna ask, like, I've watched a lot of, a couple games this week, and the foul calls have been going way down. Like the whole, flopping and always, especially Harden's like shot. I don't think he's got like more than 5 free throws in the first 3 games or 2 games. So, but I've seen an interesting stat that said league average free throw attempts per game is currently 19.7, and that's the lowest in NBA history.
Wow. Really?
It's a small sample size, but just based off the eye test, like the refs are not, giving the bullshit, leaning in or, foul baiting, all that stuff. So that's good.
We were watching that one play together with the Warriors where Steph, you remember that play a few nights ago where he was like about to, and then in mid shot, he like passed it because he realized, I'm not going to get this call.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's good. It's not good for the league, man. It's good for the league.
Yeah.
This nonsense. It's not, because it doesn't require talent. To me, it's not out dueling the defender if you just manipulate the game and draw a foul like that. Which is pretty much how Harden plays.
I agree. Yeah, but there was all that they talk about the refs and everything in the Olympics, because they didn't get any like calls during the Olympics, not nearly as many as they do in the NBA.
Yeah, the FIFA refs. That was so funny to watch.
FIBA.
Yeah.
FIBA. I'm thinking about soccer.
Nah, FIFA's not even with the EA anymore.
But yeah, that's interesting. That's about, like you guys said, that's good for the league. That's a good segue into the Warriors. The Warriors are 2-0. I just wanted to shout out the Warriors. Nah, I'm a Bulls fan first, despite what they say. I think I'm a Bulls fan. I'm pretty sure 1,000% positive that I'm a Bulls fan first, but the Warriors are always enticing to me because Steph is on them. But they've gotten out to a nice start too. There's a lot of great young teams that have gotten out to hot starts, like the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, I think we can all agree that the Grizzlies' depth is really, really has a lot of potential to be great. They got guys like DeAnthony Melton and Desmond Bane off the bench who can contribute on scoring nights. And then Jaren Jackson. If Jaren Jackson can stay healthy and Ja can stay healthy the whole year, that team's going to be a nice playoff team, I think. And then the Knicks have obviously been 2-0 as well. The Bucks are 2-1. The Hornets are 2-0. The Wizards are somehow 2-0 too. Kuzma and Spencer Dinwiddie went off one night, which is funny because everyone was shit on the Wizards in the beginning, and they were saying that they're like the Shanghai Sharks of the NBA, and then they're 2-0. So you never really know.
It's really funny because the reason they went off is because somebody named Bradley Beal, who happens to be on my fantasy team,
was not there.
Wasn't playing. Played one game. He got hurt. First pick for me. Just
oh man.
Didn't even last 2 games.
Shout out to the Timberwolves too. They've been pretty good.
Oh, right.
I know they get off to a hot start every year, and then they'll just being one of the worst teams in the West. But they look pretty good this year.
Kings are making the playoffs. Kings are making the playoffs.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
What's your thoughts?
I think it's put it down. Put it down. You got it down for me? That's a take. That's a prediction. I'm keeping that all year.
What y'all think about the Lakers? Thoughts about them?
I was waiting.
I know they've been the talk.
Oh, we got to talk about that. Yeah. Did you see what Richard Jefferson said about actually never mind, I'm not going to bring that up. You guys won't understand. That argument with Dwight and AD.
Yeah, that's not good. That is not good.
I mean, what do you make of that?
I think it was just in the heat of the moment. Obviously, they were getting, punished. I think AD was just trying to tell Dwight, he was talking about something about the previous play. I think Dwight was just annoying him, and AD, losing the game, wasn't playing good. I think his emotions just got filled up, and he just went off on him. I think I was watching this one video. I forgot who it was, but he was talking about how usually when there's blow-ups on the sideline, you see guys yelling at each other or getting to each other's face. But he said he's never seen somebody put their hands, teammates put their hands on each other. And I thought, I was yeah, low-key, I've never seen that either. So I think that was pretty interesting. So maybe he was actually that mad, but Dwight after the game said, they're still brothers and, it's all good and everything, but we never know.
That's just damage control, right?
I can't wait to see Undisputed. Because I know Skip won a case of due on that one.
Yeah.
That it would be so funny because I don't know what excuse Shannon's going to have. The obvious one is going to be they're just not going to figure it out immediately. Their chemistry is going to be bad for a while. It's just not going to happen right away. But I do think this could potentially be a kind of issue the Lakers have for the whole year.
Chemistry?
I think so too.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but specifically that kind of thing where teammates are getting all up in each other's face. You saw did you guys see the video with LeBron yelling at Cam Payne?
Yeah.
To me, that's beneath him. You hear what they say, you ignore it. Don't worry about it. Let your play do the talking. You don't need to say, hey, well, you were home a year ago, whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares? People are just saying that stuff to rile you up. And clearly it riled LeBron up.
Right.
In my opinion, that's how I took it. I think that they're going to be a little bit thin-skinned with each other this year because there's going to have to be a level of patience that I'm not sure all of them can display. I don't know. I have some questions on that end. But ultimately, people are going to overreact. They're 0-2. They're still probably the best team in the West. I don't care if the Jazz go 82-0. I would still pick the Jazz to lose in the playoffs. So,
man,
I really don't care. But I will say, to back your Warriors, Zach, I thought it was an impressive win that they beat the Lakers. I really did not expect that to happen opening night. And honestly, I just watched the Lakers offense. It's kind of like the Nets. It's really stagnant. And the Warriors just move. They move a ton. And Steph was horrible in that game. I know you said his stats were close to a triple-double, but stats don't tell the whole story. You watch the game, he was not good.
He got
and they still won the game.
He got a triple-double.
Did he get a triple-double?
Yeah,
okay.
he did. And he said that he played awful after.
Yeah, exactly. So I would agree with his assessment. He's a superstar, so I'd expect a little more. But so that was an impressive win for them, to me.
Yeah, it's still early. So we don't really know.
Super early.
You know, it's a journey. The whole season is a journey. That's one of the things I love about the NBA is that there's this long journey they have to go through to get to the playoffs, and you know, there's a lot of ups and downs and injuries and different things like the chemistry issues throughout the season. And you know, if you start hot, this is the same with baseball, I think. You know, if you start hot, that is not good, because you need to be hot at the end of the season, and that rides into the playoffs. So that's going to be big. You know, which teams are hot right now and are gonna stay hot.
They're hot. I'm hot right now.
If they can stay hot, you know, if they can stay hot, that's wow. I just got that reference. But
you just got it? That took a minute.
I was in my thoughts there, thinking about the season. But it's awesome to have the NBA back, you know, again in a full season, you know, with the fans here as well. So it's crazy that the bubble was only like a year ago, but we're here. So top 75 list also came out.
Hold up, I want to ask about the Nets because they're the other big team.
Quick. Sorry, yeah. Go ahead.
What do you guys think, Mohammed? How are you feeling about that team? How are you feeling about the coaching specifically? It's 2 games, but
Go on my notes real quick.
That's not a good sign right there. He dropped his head and
he wants to make sure he's got the right words.
Well, I just took some notes from any game that I watched. So just from the opener against the Bucks, KD and Harden just were nonchalant. They looked just, like you said, stagnant offense. Like, it was just like, you know, no pick and roll really with Harden. It was just, you know, let's give it to KD ISO or something like that. Lazy on defense. Defense been a question, you know, ever since they got together. Steve Nash rotations and minutes were kind of weird. I understand playing Claxton. I don't think he's a good player like I
think he's a great
he's a decent defender, but he's kind of too weak to me. Like he was getting beaten in the paint a lot.
To be fair, a lot of players will get beaten.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, by Giannis, yeah. Drew Holiday obviously got injured during that game. I don't think he's going to
lost by. They would have lost by 40 if he didn't.
Yeah, facts. But Bucks role players stepped up. Nets players, Patty Mills 10 to 10 from 3. I haven't missed a shot throughout the whole season. Paul Millsap and LaMarcus Aldridge. I think the lineup should be Harden, KD, Patty, LaMarcus, and Aldridge. I think that's a balance with shooting.
LaMarcus and Aldridge?
Huh? I mean, yeah.
You said LaMarcus
and Paul Millsap. I'm tweaking.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I think just because off of experience, that's what they can play through right now. But Harden, for me, like I told you, Will, and I said in the group chat, his I don't know if it's just a foul baiting, you know, taken out of the rules basically, but he's not been aggressive enough for me.
He might be. I don't know. Yeah, he hasn't. KD hasn't shot well either. Like
he's been confident with his shooting. He's been taking every shot. But
yes. I will say he, like, in the second half of both games, he was nuts. Like, I watched some of the. I will say this. I'm pretty confident.
I just meant like he wasn't scared to like take 25 plus shots, but I feel like just because he has to, that's why he's doing it.
I think his efficiency will go up as they kind of figure this out. They need Kyrie. They don't. I like to think they have a pretty good team without Kyrie. They should. KD, I feel confident saying some of the shots this man makes, I drop my jaw. Like I drop my jaw. Oh my God. I dropped my jaw. Like I swear that they're the most contested shots I've ever seen in my life. And he will just drain them. I'm in like, when he shoots it, I'm like, that's a terrible shot. That's an absolutely terrible shot, but he makes it. They need the size, dude. The size is absolutely killing them in those first 2 games. Embiid, Giannis, Brook Lopez. I mean, Brook Lopez kind of just stands on the wing, but it's so bad. And their defense is not good. Their rotations, and when I say rotations, I mean rotating on defense is terrible.
So many open layups for the Sixers.
Yes,
crazy.
dude. I was like, I was gonna do a breakdown on our TikTok. I was like, yo, if this dude runs out, tries to steal the pass, doesn't get it, that person moves here, the other person moves here. Well, then that leaves somebody right down by the bucket. Well, the person guarding that far 3 needs to go down and guard the person at the bucket. You want to guard the closest path, right? The pass. Yeah. I just was watching. I was like, this is a recipe for disaster. Harden needs to run. He needs to be more of the point guard, I think, than he has been, because he's kind of just been doing
he's playing like they have Kyrie out there, because like when Kyrie's out there, that's what he plays. He just, he'll take a couple of threes, he'll drive in, but occasionally he wants to run the offense. Kyrie's not there, so
he needs to run the offense.
Yeah, he has to run the offense, but he has to do it like what he did back in Houston. That's
so. Yeah. So yes, watching these games, I was thinking back to Kobe and his what was his show? It was YouTube thing. It was
on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
God, that analyzing thing he did?
Yeah. What was it called? God.
Detail.
Detail. Yeah. Detail.
Yeah, Peyton Manning and Kobe both did Detail on ESPN.
So he would talk about how LeBron teams always play through the 2-crown system. I've mentioned this before. I've mentioned it many times. To me, it's the number one reason that LeBron teams don't win. And it's also the number one number one reason that his fans and everybody else, or mainly his fans and him, say that the team doesn't work without him on the court. It's because the system is literally designed around him. I saw the Nets playing the same way. Every other pass was to KD or Harden. And I was like, this is a recipe for disaster. You need to just play it, just move. And that's the other thing, is there's no movement. So all this to say, I just have a lot of concerns about them right now. As a team that everybody is projecting to go to the finals. Somehow they're the favorite. Blake Griffin needs to play. I guess he doesn't. If they don't have one good-sized big man on the court, I don't know what they're doing.
Has James Johnson played for them yet?
Yeah,
I think he has.
They should play him more minutes. That's like, I have concerns about their depth. Like, Patty Mills is going to be okay. And Aldridge, but if like Patty Mills and Aldridge and James Johnson and Claxton, like that's decent. If they can get those guys going, those guys can be decent. But if they're not going, and if they're unhealthy or injured, like that's one of the worst benches in the entire league, I think. And there's not really a deep roster.
It isn't.
And they built that roster around having Kyrie, having 3 superstars.
We talked about that last week, right?
If they don't have one of them, it's going to be hard to work things out, because that's not the way they're built. So Harden is going to, like Muhammad said, Harden is going to have to step up and at least play, decent minutes and, be more aggressive with the shot taking, like Durant. And if that doesn't happen, then I have questions about this team, because I don't know who else can step up if they can get guys to step up and make shots with, Kyrie out, like Patty Mills has been really nice for them. They should be winning, but they're not. So
it is still early. Question for you guys.
Sorry. Yeah.
You good, man. I like Cam Thomas. Personally, I think he's a good rookie. I think they should play him more. I feel like he can at least kind of fill the role of Kyrie.
Say Cam Thomas?
Yeah, the rookie. He was like the summer league MVP, or led the league in the summer league in scoring. I think he's a good player. I understand he's a rookie, but if you don't have Kyrie, Patty Mills can't exactly be that scorer.
I mean, they beat the Sixers too. Yeah, I mean, they beat the Sixers.
Yeah, but they beat the Sixers because KD hit some ridiculous shots at the end.
KD had a triple double.
Danny Green airball 3 straight threes.
Yeah, Danny Green with the airball, #1 trending in America on Twitter that night.
And Doc Rivers didn't know how to challenge a.
That was the number one thing to me was like I was like,
bro, like what are you doing, bro?
There are like 3 calls in the last 2 minutes that were blatant fouls by the Nets, and they didn't call them. I don't know about Doc, dude. I'm sorry. Every year I start to question Doc more and more.
Oh yeah,
but
I question him all the time now after the blown leads.
Question for you guys though: first week, who's intriguing to you in these conferences that that we're not all talking about? Obviously,
teams or players.
Teams or players. I don't care.
I guess. Oh, go ahead, Mohammed. Sorry.
Not gonna lie, the Cavs have been looking like
that rookie dude.
Evan Mobley, bro. Watch out for him.
Oh yeah.
He's how do I say this? Like that man's like his potential is like I think the highest of anybody in that draft class. He's like 6'9", 6'10". He's obviously a good defensive player, but his playmaking is underrated, bro. His passing is obviously he can score, but his playmaking is underrated, bro. Watch out for the Cavs. Jared Allen, Colin Sexton, obviously everybody knows about him. I don't know about Garland and what's the other guy, what's the other guy's name?
Isaac Okoro.
I don't know about their development. I haven't really watched them, so I don't know.
I can help you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll just give you a hint. Darius Garland is on my fantasy team. So what does that tell you about him? He's been hurt. He's been hurt. His development though last year, he really did come out. Isaac Okoro, he started to look good last year. At the end of the year, I think
he had a good start last year. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not like a scorer or anything. He's just like your utility guy. He just does everything. I don't think he's looked too good this year thus far. It's only been 3 games. But you know who I think looks good? Lauri Markkanen. And I'm happy for Lauri because he was not a good fit for the Bulls, but I think he's a better fit for the Cavs. So I think his role is going to, it obviously already has been bigger. I'm hoping he has a better season.
Yeah.
I was crying about him all last year to get him off the team. That doesn't mean I hate him. I just didn't like him on the Bulls. So I am happy for him. I hope he breaks out. What about or Zach, you didn't even get to speak.
I was going to say I was going to say before I said before the Grizzlies are really intriguing to me. I think if Jaren Jackson can stay healthy, they're really not. If Jaren Jackson can stay healthy and Ja can stay healthy, that's their core right there. If those guys can stay healthy and progress and to continue to develop, it's really exciting. Steven Adams down low. I think Steven Adams is a great acquisition. I think he's going to get most of the rebounds because Jaren Jackson is not really. He's a power forward. He's a stretch forward, so he doesn't get as much rebounds. And if Adams is down low, he's going to get most of the rebounds. He's a great rebounder. I think he's one of the most underrated big men in the league. And then they have guys like Desmond Bane and DeAnthony Melton off the bench who can knock down some threes and knock down some big shots and, give Ja some nice assists. So that's really nice. Ja had that explosive dunk this at one of those games as well. That was interesting. And they don't have Dylan Brooks back. I think Dylan Brooks can be a nice acquisition too. So they just have a lot of young talent. And last year, I know I was looking at picking up a lot of the players from the Grizzlies last year off waivers for basketball for fantasy, and they've all been really solid. So if they can continue to get guys going like Bane and Melton and making those shots and giving Ja assists, and then they have Adams down low and Jaren Jackson, like they're a really solid all-around team, I think. So that's exciting. But we need to get to the top 75 list. So
speaking of fantasy, real quick,
okay.
Drummond just got hurt on my team.
Classic. Will's team. I'm sorry, Will.
8 injuries already in 1 week. Let's go.
We're
I'm gonna lose to Raul. I'm gonna literally lose to Raul because I had 8 players get hurt this. That's insane. Raul's team is not that bad though.
But
I'll say that.
The top 75 list, real quick, before we wrap up. We're already getting up there in the minutes right now, but the top 75 for the 75th anniversary was announced earlier this week, and there were some comments going around. There were some guys left off, including let me get this list up really quick. Let me show you, because there was a graphic going around about, guys left off.
Are you going to show it?
Yeah, I'm going to try and show it here if I can find it.
I sent it on Instagram.
Yeah, but, Dwight got left off. I know Kyrie got left off. There was rumors about that. Everyone was talking about how Dwight should have been on it. But who do you guys think? Do you guys think this list is good? Do you think I can't find it? You did not send it on Instagram.
It's just I did. It's literally the last thing sent. I'm looking at it right now. Oh no, it's the second to last thing sent. It's the last thing I sent.
That doesn't show who got left off though.
Oh, you're looking for who got left.
I'm looking for who got left. The who got left off graphic. But yeah, do you guys think Kyrie should have been on it? Do you guys think Drummond should have been on it? What do you think?
Drummond.
I'm not Drummond. Dwight Howard. What the fuck? But
I mean, two people that I thought didn't deserve to make it, Dame and AD. Don't understand why they made it. Dwight Howard, I feel like should have been the first name in terms of people who were snubbed to make it. Also, I want to say Alex English. I don't know if you guys know him, but he was the top scorer in terms of a whole decade in the 80s. He was the leading scorer, and he had 8 straight seasons with 2,000 points. I know a lot of old school guys, like I know Inside the NBA was talking about it, and some guys, Hall of Famers, throughout social media were shouting him out. Play for the Nuggets, but I feel like, if you're an 8-time All-Star, you're a Hall of Famer, 3-time All-NBA, and you're the leading scorer for a whole decade, I think you definitely deserve to be a top 75 player, especially over someone like Dame. Who's not a bad player. I think he'll eventually make it, but just not now. Vince Carter, Tracy, Alonzo Mourning, I felt those are a couple names that should have got consideration too. But overall, I think Dwight, Alex English, those probably my top 2 picks that got snubbed.
Talk about Clay, Zach.
Yeah, I was talking about Clay. Yeah, Clay got left off, and he got trolled by the Warriors with the jersey. But he thinks, he said he thinks he needs to be on it. I think he needs to be on it. I think Clay has revolutionized the game. I mean, Steph is obviously the main reason that that shooting has revolutionized the game. But Klay Thompson is arguably a top 5 shooter of all time. I think he is a top 5 shooter of all time. He's arguably the second best shooter of all time. I think he's one of the best defenders, or has been in the last couple of years when he was healthy. He's been a key piece on that Warriors dynasty. And he's been with Steph and Draymond. I don't think they go to those championships without Clay and some of those nights. And he's had a lot of big performances in the playoffs, the Game 6, the Game 7 against
you could just say Game 6 in general.
Game 6, Clay. Yeah, Game 6, Clay is a known occurrence, a known reoccurring occurrence.
It's a player that you compare with other players.
Game 6, Clay is a known phenomenon. It's I can see why he's not on it, because he's been off. He hasn't been playing the last 2 years. I think if he has been playing the last year or the last one of those years, I think he could have gotten higher. But
I mean, he didn't. He barely missed a cut. Barely.
Yeah, he barely missed a cut. So I think he'll be on. I think he can continue to perform, and I think he can get there. I think he can get in that top 75 conversation later in his career. if he keeps making threes and gets up there in the rankings. So I think he should have been on it, but there's obviously a lot of good guys on here that deserve to be on. So I'm not, mad about it, but.
Yeah, I wish I could see the list of people they're forgetting so it would like trigger my mind. But the first one obviously is Dwight Howard. I mean,
yeah,
like Mohammed said, that came to everyone's mind. That's a no-brainer to me. I don't know how AD and Dame are on this list because of the people who aren't. It feels like what they did with the 50, how they put Shaq on, even though nobody at the time thought Shaq was a top 50 player. Right. Everybody thought he would be, and now I think everybody would say he's a top 5 player, or at the very least top 10.
Yeah.
So it was like preemptive. So that might be what they're doing with Dame and AD, but as of today, AD is not a better player than Dwight Howard. I'm sorry, he just is not. Neither is Dame. So God, I'm trying to think of who else they left off.
A lot of what was I about to say? Damn it. I can't remember what I was going to say. Damn. But yeah, Carmelo was on it. Some people thought Carmelo didn't deserve to be on it. Some people think, Dame deserved to be on it too. Or Dame was on it, right?
Yeah.
And PG made it too, right?
No.
Well, George did not make it. Yeah.
Well, I can understand that.
I can understand that. Yeah.
Do you guys
I didn't think Clay deserved it.
What's it called? You guys think like guys like Paul George and Vince Carter, Dame, AD, just I know we say they don't deserve to be on it, but just in case, like
Vince, that was the other one.
I was gonna say, yeah, I remember. I was gonna say you can't. There's some players on this. I feel like you have to be if you can't tell the story of basketball without mentioning these certain players, then they need to be on. This list, right? Like I don't think you can tell the story of basketball without Vince Carter. I think Vince Carter he changed the game with the dunking. That performance in the dunk contest, I think, is iconic, an iconic moment in NBA history. I think that's why he should be on it, is because he's made iconic dunks in games. He's had iconic moments in dunk contests. I think that's enough to put him in over some other guys. And I don't think yeah.
My bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was done.
I was gonna say, like, since you mentioned Vince Carter, like I say T Mac, Alonzo Mourning. Like, do you guys feel like these guys, like, just in terms of like, I know there's a lot of like black and white players in terms of like the 50s and 60s players that, weren't really like in terms of skill wise, these guys would, thump them and stuff. Mm-hmm. So do you guys feel like they deserve to make it over guys like that?
Nah, dude, I agree.
A lot of people complaining. That's why I was asking.
Like. I know. I listened to what Chris Broussard, I was watching First Things First, and Chris Broussard brought up a great point, one that I've used forever in this argument, is he said greatness isn't transcendent or whatever, or it is transcendent, right?
Right.
Meaning, basically, if you put those players with those skills in today's era, yeah, they're gonna get clapped. The players are today they're gonna smoke them because it's just not fair. But you're acting as if because they played when the game was, first created, the technology was way worse, the shoes way worse, the training way worse, the medicine way worse, the hoops way worse, no 3-point line, all that stuff. It all matters. So I'm telling you, this is how I look at it: is if all those players today, and I watch videos because I watched a video on Twitter. I saw it because I'm actually going on Twitter now. It was a video of like the stereotypical white boys playing back then. And you'd look at them playing basketball, you'd be like, what the heck? And they're like, all of the players in this image made the top 75. And I'm like, well, yeah, let them grow up today. They're going to be really good because great players find a way to be great always. Mm-hmm. It's the same reason that I don't think LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan because of eras. Well, if MJ played in this era, I think he'd have a 20-plus year, career as well. And then he would have all the longevity stats. It wouldn't even be close. So
the eras
to your point, I don't think it's I don't think that's a fair argument. You have to, yes, eras matter. They really do, because it's not fair. It's the same thing with baseball or running. Like Jesse Owens would dust everybody in the world today, including Usain Bolt, if he had the same train, the same shoes, the same track. If he just got to race with this kind of technology, it wouldn't be fair. That's
like Wilt,
just
I'm looking at
that's how it is.
like the Wilt era. They posted like some highlights recently from the Wilt era. Just in the post, just shooting like sky hooks and making like easy bank jumpers, and everyone was unimpressed in the comments. But I'm like, if he had the like stuff, the technology and the capabilities now, like he'd be unstoppable. Wilt would be if he had all
He
the
would still be
training.
unstoppable.
If he had the training and everything now, like, oh my God, it's a nightmare to think about. But yeah, the eras is something that needs to be accounted for. I think there's a lot of guys on this list that they changed the game back then, and people don't think about that. Like, where's the game without guys like Wilt or guys like George Mikan or guys like Clyde or Frazier, or where is the game without those guys? And I think it's not in a good spot if those guys aren't on the team, aren't in the history. If you can't tell
what you did there.
Like the story of basketball too, if you can't tell the story of basketball without some of those guys in the black and white eras, and if you can't do that, they need to be on the list.
I don't agree with Klay Thompson being on this list. I personally don't think he should be. But another big name that people were talking about was Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys' thoughts on Kyrie?
Yeah,
I don't know. Accolades. If you're talking about accolades, I know it's.
Is he good enough to be on the top 75 list? I think plain and simple. You do?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, accolades wise, people are gonna make that argument against him. He doesn't have more All NBAs than this guy, or he doesn't have as much All Star appearances and whatnot. And the number one thing was, I know Shannon was talking about it. Oh, Kyrie without LeBron is nobody.
That's so.
That's the number one.
Just I hate that argument.
Yeah, it's just stupid, dude.
It's so bad. I don't think he should be.
Is he supposed to be on the list because of one shot? I was like, come on, bro.
Folks, they do the same thing with Kevin Love. Folks ignore the fact that the teams got better. They improved as those two players were there. Timberwolves got better every single year Kevin Love was on the Timberwolves, except for 1 year because he was hurt. The Cavs got better with Kyrie. So they were improving. They just needed some extra help. It's not like he couldn't, improve a team. And then the next argument is when he went to the Celtics, they did better without him, which is, there's more to that than simply just him. But Zach, go on.
Yeah, Kyrie is tough because Kyrie has been on that championship team with LeBron. They went to 3 championships together. Went to the three finals together. Sorry, but and he hasn't really done anything since. But he's still one of the most skilled players in the league. He's arguably the most skilled player all time. We talked about we had the offensive repertoire debate a couple months ago. But he is very skilled. It's hard, man, because he hasn't done a lot without, by himself. He hasn't carried a team by himself. He doesn't have like an MVP caliber season by himself. He just hasn't had like a, continued playoff success besides those LeBron teams. So it's tough to put him on that list. But I think he certainly has an argument. There's some guys who are saying he has no argument whatsoever, and that's just asinine, because he's arguably the most skilled player all time, best handles all time, can get his shots easily all time. So he needs to be in the argument, at least in the case, at least there is an argument for him. There is not, no argument for him. So he definitely deserves to be argumented and debated for.
I don't think he should be there.
Yeah,
and
but
it's mostly because of accolades. But I agree, there's an
accolades.
argument.
Yeah, the accolades. Right. Yeah.
See, that's why this is hard, is because so I look at Kyrie and I'd be like, who do I take off to put him on? Well, Dame and AD are the obvious choices just off my head, and I don't even know all these players I didn't get to watch all of them.
I think you could take AD off and put Kyrie on.
But
AD
I'm not putting Kyrie before Dwight Howard. No way.
No
And
way.
I'm
no
probably
way.
not putting him before Vince Carter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would
That's just my initial thoughts.
Would you take Melo off and put Kyrie on?
No, Melo is a better player than Kyrie to me, all time.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's arguable. See, that's where the accolades come in. Like, how much of this is relying on accolades? Like, I'd love to know who. I'd like to speak to the people who made the list. I know a lot of people want to because they had issues. Here's another name though, Chris Bosh.
Yeah, that's a good point. Chris Bosh, I don't know if he's top 75. I don't know.
Lists are dumb, dude. Lists are starting to become unnecessary to me because of stuff like this.
They don't even make sense anymore. I don't know because is it relying on accolades or not? Yeah. Or is it? Am I just looking at skill? Because if I'm looking at just skill, Kyrie Irving's on this list.
You can't compare this many different players and this different many timelines. It's just
and eras. Yeah,
asking for trouble because it's just unnecessary. They should have done like
best 25 from each decade or something.
Each decade, maybe best 20, like break it down to each position. Just compare, like make it more comparable if we're going to compare this many players to each other. Because if we're over here talking about Kyrie and Chris Bosh, who two different skill sets, two different positions, one's 6'9" and the other one's barely 6'2". So it's just
in science we call these variables. And when you run an experiment and you're trying to figure something out, the more you have to control all your variables. I want to feel like, a smarty there. But if you don't, like they aren't, shut up. I heard that. Who do you think you are? But if you don't control all these variables like size, era, medicine, stuff like that, technology, that all matters. That's going to affect your outcome. Makes it really hard to compare LeBron James to Joe Schmo, Walt Frazier from back then, like even.
Yeah.
And I only bring up Walt Frazier because Jack.
Jack loves Walt Frazier. Yeah.
SIU
But we're getting up there in the time right now. We've gone through a lot of
football's
topics.
On.
We got a lot of topics here. Football's on, but appreciate you guys. Another episode 37 in the books. The season is back. Love having you guys here. The podcast is making big changes this year, though, so stay tuned.
Our nightly videos, recaps,
our social media is trying to get better. So
yeah, we're trying to grow that.
Look at us on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok, like our
Twitter
content, Twitter, Instagram, Linktree. That's in the bio below. The deal. But appreciate you guys.
We're gonna start a dynasty fantasy league too. That's gonna be fun.